It has been over 2 months now since I had a 5-star read. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever going to have a 5-star read again. And I've been thinking a lot about how that makes me feel and about whether or not I even like reading or want to keep reading, and if my whole life is a lie. Just feeling a lot of emotions about it. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Tori, and I need to stop there because I'm starting to sound like an early 2000s emo punk song. Now on the surface, 2 months really is not that long, right? But one of the things that struck me was that out of the books that I've read this year, and I'm on my 50th book of the year, and I have read 5 books that I have given 5 stars. Full 5 stars, no questions asked. It wasn't a 4.5 star, it was a full 5 stars. Amazing, chef's kiss, loved it. Now this video is going to be a little bit more of a ramble and a conversation, so feel free to jump down into those comments and be part of the conversation. I think there's a big difference, for me at least, between types of 5-star reads. You have intellectual 5-star reads where you finish the book, you close it, and you're just like, wow, what an absolute masterpiece of a book, and how incredible that was, and just I'm thinking about it for a really long time after I finish reading. And that for me was an example like Black Sun Rising, which I finished earlier this year, and full 5 stars, absolutely loved it, had a lot to say about it. I feel like there's another type of 5-star that I give out, which is an emotional 5-star, something that maybe leans a little bit more to the subjective, but it really pulls me in emotionally. I might really relate to one of the characters or one of the themes that is being explored in the book, and it just it takes me by the heart and takes my heart out, stomps all over it, tapes it back together, and then gently replaces it back in my chest. And I so desperately need one of those 5-star reads, you guys. That's the kind of 5-star read that I am on the hunt for this year. I also want to talk a little bit about why I'm so stingy with my 5-star reads and what factors I think have been contributing to less 5-star reads for me this year. And it's not like I'm usually prolific with 5 stars. I actually am quite stingy, as I mentioned, with them, which I don't necessarily see as a problem. Every reader's going to be different in how they want to rate books, or how they feel about books, or, you know, what makes a 5-star for each of us. I would love to know what makes a book a 5-star read for you personally. So let me know down in the comments as we're chatting here. My biggest thing is I want a book to stay with me. I want a book to make me forget that I'm reading a book. You know what I mean? I want to have a story that I almost forget that the characters aren't real people. I love stories like that, and because I'm such a character nerd, man, if you give me a really good cast of characters that just pull me in and make me feel like they could come breathing right off the page, I love that. I love that so much. And I think that several of the books that I've read this year have done such amazing character work, and I love them, and they're intellectually just chef's kiss masterpieces. But I'm waiting for a book to really break me down and dissect me in a therapy chair, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's just some, you know, balled up grief that I'm still dealing with after my grandfather's passing a couple months ago, which is definitely possible because I do process a lot of emotions through the books that I read, which I have done since I was a kid. So that is something that either by writing it out or reading it, this is getting really deep really quickly. I apologize. So let's talk about what makes a 5-star read. One of the things that I kind of try to balance, and you know, it's a conversation we have on booktube all the time. Are you a subjective or objective reader? Is there any way to actually be objective? Does that even exist? I believe that it does. I believe that everything's on kind of a sliding scale between subjective and objective reads. For me, there is an objective standard in terms of just how polished is the book, does the story structure work, etc., etc. Are the characters being assassinated by the author for the sake of plot? That's something that really bothers me personally. So for me, that's more of a little bit of like a technical sliding scale towards the objective, where I start looking at the bones of the story and how it's put together. That doesn't mean that I rate objectively. Most of the time, I fall somewhere in the middle, where I do take my subjective feelings about the book and how it works for me personally into consideration, and that does carry a lot of weight in the way that I rate and review. And alongside that subjective objective kind of scale, I have read a lot of books, and so the question comes up for me sometimes as I'm percolating about the reads that I'm having: am I more critical than I should be? Am I letting go of kind of the enjoyment of the reading experience and focusing too much on all the little technicalities? And I think sometimes I definitely do. I don't think that's always a bad thing either, and some of that I can't turn off mentally because I'm a writer. So every book that I read, there's a part of my brain that really enjoys looking at how the author put things together and seeing what they were doing. It's almost like getting a backstage pass because I understand the craft. So it's interesting to me to kind of break down what other authors do and how they do it. And I really enjoy that kind of super nerdy way of reading. But I also think that sometimes I forget how to be just a reader. And I don't know that that's something that I'll ever be able to get back 100% because I'm an author. I don't know that I'll ever be able to disengage that part of my brain completely to read, which, I don't know that that's necessarily a good or a bad thing. But I've really been chasing that reader 5-star. I think we got to it, guys. I think I can articulate what this video is about. There's a reader 5-star for me, and there's an author 5-star. And there are 5-star reads that I have given this year that I'm just amazed by from an author perspective, that I'm just like, wow, this is put together so incredibly well. I feel like I'm reading a masterclass in character, in atmosphere, in plot, in whatever it is. And I love it. And it's such a deserving 5-star, and it's up here, right? Also up here is, I think, what I'm looking for, and that's a reading experience 5-star. I think that makes sense. I want to just be a reader, be in the story, and be swept away. I want to read a story that engages my emotions as a reader more than my intellect as an author, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And I love that we're just having this little mini therapy session together today. I hope you guys are finding this helpful as well. I want a reader 5-star experience, you guys. That's what I'm on the hunt for. I'm looking for a book that's gonna totally sweep me away. And I'm not trying to say that either one of these two types of 5-stars for me are better or worse than the other. They're not. It's simply a different type of how it engages my brain as a story, I think. And I've had several amazing author 5-stars this year, and now I want a reader one. Now, I do think there's some books coming up on my TBR for the rest of the year that could definitely end up being 5-star reads for me. I am planning on going back to Robin Hobb and reading Fool's Errand, which I have heard from so many Robin Hobb fans is one of their, if not their favorite book in the realm of the Elderlings. And I know Robin Hobb is a reader experience for me. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, one of the other things I think is contributing to this a little bit is because I am organized as a booktuber. Obviously, I have organized, here's what I'm planning on reading this month, and here's the books that I'm buddy reading, and the books that people want me to read, and the books that are getting recommended to me. All of these different lists of books, and I'm making my way through those, and I'm making my way through my priority reads, and I'm having a great time. And also, I think sometimes it's easy as a booktuber to let go of mood reading and then suddenly remember that that's something you enjoy doing. So in the next couple of months, I am planning on giving myself a lot more space to mood read, and I'm really looking forward to that. I have a couple of games planned with some friends of mine that I think are going to be really fun and encourage me into mood reading, but still give me like a very nebulous guideline, so that it still feels a bit helpful with the decision paralysis, which I also struggle with. One of the things I get comments about on the channel all the time from people that I think I need to bring up here because it will come up again is there's a lot of people that get very upset or concerned that I organize my reading so much, that I have TBRs, I have like a schedule, that I make it so quote unquote restrictive. Well, obviously you're not having a good time reading because you're so restrictive. You're giving yourself a TBR, you're forcing yourself to read whatever books. And one of the things that I think is worth mentioning here is that, again, not just like everyone is going to have a different experience with every book, every reader is going to approach reading differently and have different ways of reading that work best for them. For me personally, I get decision paralysis really badly. If I just look at my shelves and somebody's like, pick a book you want to read, my brain gets really overwhelmed really quickly. So I actually find it super helpful to have some kind of guideline, even if it's vague, because it kind of leads me in at least a sort of direction, and then that makes it easier to pick, ooh, yep, on this shelf, I'm really interested in reading that book. It kind of narrows the window a little bit, which is nice. And when you have a 1,000-book library, that's helpful because I want to read all of them. And so just saying pick a book you want to read, there's like 600 options, and that's a little overwhelming. But I do think that there are times when I need to take a break, when I need to step back from the organized, scheduled TBRs, from the buddy reads, from the read-alongs, and give myself full freedom and full space to just read and just to pick something off my shelf. Another part of this equation, I think for me personally, is that as a booktuber, I read in a spotlight of sorts. My reading is very transparent. I review everything I read for the most part. I talk about it. People watch my Goodreads, check my social media platforms, watch my videos, and I'm always having a conversation about what I'm reading with my friends, with people on my audience, with total strangers on a social media platform. And while that doesn't bother me on a day-to-day basis, and I do this because I love it, every once in a while I get this feeling that I want to just read for myself. Like I want to go hide in a little hobbit hole somewhere with a book that nobody knows I'm reading and just have my own experience with it. And that's something that I think I'm going to try to factor into my reading more. And I've even gotten to the point where I'm not updating my Goodreads right away. I'm giving myself a little bit of time to feel the book out and just not tell anybody I'm reading it and have that individual experience with it again, which I've been really enjoying. And I think I'm going to continue to work more of that into my reading schedule, because sometimes it does get tough to feel like you have to have something to say about everything that you read, and you have to present it in a way that, is helpful to other people. And again, love what I do, so I'm not saying that I don't enjoy that. I do. But every once in a while it is nice to disengage, kind of unplug, if you will, from the booktube community or the book community in general, and just kind of sit with a book and read it. And I actually find that I sometimes have more to say and it's more articulate when I do that. So as I'm learning through this journey in the book community and continually reassessing and reprioritizing how my reading is feeling, where I want to go with it, what I want to do next, I think this is a really good moment for me to recognize that I need to incorporate more reader experience into my reading life, as opposed to booktuber and author experience of reading, if that makes sense. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I, again, realize that this has been a complete ramble, and I don't know if any of that made sense, but I appreciate that you guys are always willing to jump in and just have a little bit of a palaver with me about reading and all of that. And I know you guys will have some fantastic insights in the comments, so please don't hesitate to leave those. That's essentially what I have to say about that, and I look forward to chatting with you guys about it in the comments. Whatever you're reading, I hope that it becomes a new favorite. I hope that you have amazing 5-star reads this year that really speak to you as a reader, that really reach into your heart and your experiences and give you a place that feels like home. I wish that for you. And I hope also that you're having a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video.